Good morning, Westminster. My name is Boyd Taylor, and I'm here to talk about the fall edition of the Westminster Writers' Journal and visit with one of our contributors. The Writers' Journal is a platform for creative expression, whether poetry, memoirs, essays, or fiction by Westminster residents. Copies of the spring edition are still available in the little store. If you haven't read it, you should pick one up. The fall edition, with 45 resident contributors, will be arriving in mid-November, Amazon willing. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. My guest today is one of our writers, Dr. Mani Subramanian. Did I do it right, Mani?
Subramanian.
Subramanian. I'm just going to call you Mani.
That's fine. Mani is fine.
Mani's had a distinguished career in multinational information technology and data analytics. He's a graduate of the Madras Institute of Technology and the Indian Institute of Management. He came to the United States in 1959 and received his PhD at Purdue. And his career has taken him to Bell Labs, Georgia Tech, IIT Madras, and Network Management Forum. And he and his wife, Ruth, moved to Westminster in January of this year. Good morning again, Mani.
Good morning.
And so how are you and Ruth getting along in these strange times?
Well, we are doing fine, and I think we timed it very well because we just got settled, all settled, and then we got into the lockdown. So yeah. the food is coming to the apartment 3 times a day, and so everything seems to be working fine.
Well, we have a really great staff looking after us here, I think. And so you did have opportunity for a couple of months before the lockdown, so you got acquainted with people, and to some extent before all the excitement. Well, yes. I know Ruth has written about is also in our fall journal, and she's written about your move to Westminster and your treehouse apartment. But let me ask you this. Was your move to Austin a pleasant one for you? Were you surprised by anything in Austin, or had you spent time here before?
No, we got a very nice and pleasant move. Actually, we came 6 months before we moved here. We rented a house here. One of the professors who was going on sabbatical, so we rented the place for 7 months. And so it's very nice actually here. And since our apartment is on the roof, one of the penthouses that you call, and we call it tree house, it was very helpful actually for us to be close by to work with the Westminster folks in modeling in the inside.
I see. Yeah, of course. And you have a wonderful view there in more than one direction, I believe.
On all directions.
Yeah.
360 degrees.
Yeah.
And the big surprise we had after coming here is the large number of walking trails that you have right in the city. And so we go for a walk 3 times a week. For about 3.
You go down to the Lady Bird Lake and walk down there.
Well, we have done that, and we actually walk. We have walked up and down in sections all of the Shoal Creek.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty over there, and when the Grove is finally finished, there's going to be a lot more. Going to be some interesting walks through the Grove into the park over there. So
yes.
So, your memoir in the Fall Writers Journal is entitled Mani's Memoir, Young Life Anecdotes. I enjoyed it very much, but let's get one thing straight. Mani Subramanian is not your real name, is not your birth name. Is that correct?
Uh, it's kind of a hybrid name. Uh, we, I guess Americans are used to names of the Vietnamese, so since we were in Vietnam for quite a while. And there the given name is the last name. And then your first name is more the family name.
Yeah.
And we have somewhat very similar to that in our part, the Tamil Nadu part of India. That is, Subramanian was my given name, and my family name is actually, I take my first name as my father's name. And so my father's name is Mahadevan. So if I had a birth certificate, the birth certificate would read Mahadevan Subramanian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you legally changed your name after you established residence in the United States?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And I kept the last name as such, and the first name, Mahadevan, was too long, and the the head of the department at Purdue, on the first day when I came and met him, and he said, "Hey, that Subramanian is too long. Can I call you Subi?" And I said, "Sure, sir." And so at school and at Purdue, they all knew me as Subi Subramanian. And but the actually at home, I'm called Mani Subramanian. Mani is the nickname for Subramanian.
I got you. Yeah.
So they call Mani Subramanian. And I was a very, quite a bit involved with one of the foster family in at Purdue. And they said, well, we want to call you just the way your parents call you. So they used to call me Mani Subramanian. And my foster parents were very popular in Lafayette, West Lafayette, Indiana. And so they had a lot of friends, and they all used to call me as Mani Subramanian. And so it was pretty confusing. And when I got to start working at Bell Laboratories, I started going back and forth between here and the UK, carrying printed circuit boards because I was involved in a hardware and software development company. And they would say, okay, Mani Subramanian is carrying such and such for test purpose or whatever that is. But my passport used to read as Mahadevan Subramanian. So I thought that was going to be one of these days, hey, you are not the right person carrying this thing. To make things easier, so I legally changed my name to Mani Subramanian.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And you have two birth dates also.
Oh yes, that's right. I had skipped some grades in the elementary school, and for various reasons, a couple of times I missed grades and passed on. And so I was underage when I graduated out of high school. I couldn't actually get out of the high school with that underage, as well as I cannot join the university. So in those days, there was no birth certificate in India, and your age is the age that the parent enters in the secondary school leaves SSLC certificate. And so my dad made sure that my August birthday is underage, so he made my birthday as January of 1934.
But your passport, I guess, has your actual birthday on it.
No, legal.
Your legal birthday, yeah.
Which is the 111. The actual birthday is August.
Yeah. Well, you were born in a small village in Madras. That's Tamil Nadu now, I believe, is the name
Right,
of the state.
right.
And you moved, and your family moved to Madras city or Madras,
Yeah,
just
it was,
now Chennai.
yes,
So, so Tamil Tamil is the official language of, or is the most spoken language in Tamil Nadu.
yes, it is. And it's a Dravidian language. And so the Tamilians who live in Tamil Nadu are actually a hybrid between Aryan race and the Dravidian race. And the Tamil is a Dravidian language, which has spread more in the Southeast Asia.
So, is there an official language in India, or
And
is Hindi? What is there an official language?
there are two official languages. One of them is English that we derived from British occupation, and the other one is Hindi, which is spoken in half of India, North India, and South India had different languages, and so they made it into two official languages.
So in modern India, I imagine that there's a lot more movement between the different parts of the different states of India, and with particularly with high tech information technology companies. Is there a problem when they move from? I guess they just revert to English. Are people, are Hindi speakers accepted in Tamil Nadu, or is there a problem? Yeah.
Yeah, they are all quite a bit moved in the mobile society nowadays.
Yeah.
And it is not uncommon a person speaks several languages. And
so if you're going to be in business, you really need to be able to you need to have more than one language. So, yeah. So what was spoken, what was spoken in your home when you were a boy?
Tamil. Actually, it turns out that the males, my father and the sons, we used to speak in English, and but when the women got together, then we all speak in Tamil.
I see. So was the education system different for the boys and the girls when you were growing
No,
up?
it's the same educational system,
Okay.
and we went through it in those days in the 1940s,
Yeah.
30s and 40s. English is the first language, and then the local language, Tamil, would be the second language.
Mhm.
And I had
In addition, you chose to study Sanskrit when you were I guess, in high school or in college. In high school.
Starting in high school.
And why did you make that choice?
I guess probably for two reasons. The first reason is I was born as a high caste Brahmin, and which is a priestly caste, and the priestly caste basically is the one who has learned all the scriptures in Sanskrit, because they are all in Sanskrit. It's like the Bible originally was in Latin.
So all the ancient Hindu texts
are all in Sanskrit. And so for that one reason that I kind of was interested. The second reason is I'm interested in languages. So basically I said, gee, I might as well get to know the language of Sanskrit.
Yeah.
And so through the college, I actually had Sanskrit.
You may be the first person I've met who can read Sanskrit. It's I'm very impressed by that because I guess it's one of the oldest forms of written language. And the upper caste Brahmin they were the teachers and the intellectual leaders and the priests, and they all came from your caste. Yeah.
Yes.
So you wrote that when you were 13, you wrote that when you were young, you attended a Gandhi independence rally. I was interested in that. Do you remember that vividly?
Yeah, that part of it, basically, Mahatma Gandhi, he basically was a pacifist, and he led a pacifist movement in India to get the freedom from British occupation. And his message was very well received. And as I guess we all in US have the experience of that with Martin Luther King, who actually went and met Gandhi and brought over the pacifist movement over to United States. And so, and Mahatma Gandhi came to Chennai once, and of course there were thousands of people marched with him in Chennai, and I have heard basically of the movement, and I was not part of the movement. My family was not political at all, and they didn't participate in this. But I felt, gee, I wanted to go see Mahatma Gandhi and see how it is. So we went to the beach, and Chennai has a very long and wide beach, and it used to be the second best beach next to Miami here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was very impressed with the talk he gave. Of course, he doesn't know Tamil, but he talked in Hindi, and basically it was translated to Tamil. And I was very impressed with the pacifist activist movement. And that's what I have been all my life.
So that's how you define yourself politically now.
Yes, right.
So you were 13, I think, when you must have been 13 when India achieved its independence, and it had been,
yes,
the independence movement, as I recall, had been active since the early 1800s in one form or another. So and there were independence leaders in Madras, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you had some adventures on the train, and a section about the train in your memoir. Would you share some of that with our viewers?
Yes, and of course, my family was not rich. My family was big. We were 8 children.
His poor father supported 8 children and his sister's family, if I recall what you said, back in the village.
Right. And
was he the oldest? Was he the oldest of his family?
He was. He and his sister were the 2 children.
2 children.
For my grandparents.
Yeah.
So, but my mother's side, she's a member of a big family, and everyone had a large number of children.
Yeah. So
So
your father had quite a family responsibility. So tell us about this is about going home to the village where you were born during the summer, I think, vacation.
Right. Yeah, and used to go many summers when I was in high school and even early in college, and spent time there. And it's a 400 miles from the Madras city to my village.
Yeah.
And so we would actually take a 400-mile travel. I will read that portion of the write-up.
Yeah, would you please?
The 400-mile travel one way involved taking a horse-driven taxi to the train station, catching an express train in Madras at night, travel overnight, change to a slow passenger train next morning, and arrive at my village Malapavur in the afternoon. And from there, take a bullet-driven cart for an hour to arrive at the village where we would stay with our aunt. It takes about the same number of hours for us to travel from Madras to USA or from here to Madras, for about 30 hours. We would meet the, the other boys when we are there who also would come to the village. And so there are lots of relatives, they will all come there and we will meet there for summer. The Indian train travel is an experience and it is a lot of fun when you are young. The express train originates in Madras. We have only third class tickets, not the first class, which has cushioned beds, not the second class with comfortable cushioned seats, but the third class tickets, you have to first come, first serve accommodation. The seats are just hard benches and you fight to get the drop down sleeping berth at night that you can spread your hold all as your bed. The hold all is a rolled up carrier that literally holds everything you need for the trip. The train was and is still always overcrowded. The train pulls into the station about an hour before its scheduled departure time, and we would be there waiting for it to slowly pull in. The youngsters would jump on the steps of the train as it comes in, go inside, and would reserve the seats for the family to get in with baggage after the train stops. The attendants will feed the baggage that can be pushed through the window even while the train is still moving in. Is it safe to jump on a moving train? Well, we are used to it catching the buses and trains, trams, all over as our transportation on a daily basis in the city. On the way, the train stops for about 15 to 30 minutes at big stations, and it is fun to get down to buy food and snacks. And the vendors will be running back and forth to the next to the train selling foods through the open windows of the train. And this is not in the writing, but I would kind of demonstrate. You would hear them, coffee, 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 coffee. This is guy selling coffee that you can call and pick up. On arrival at Malapur station, a small station, a second passenger train stops briefly there to let us get down. Our village is a few miles away from the train station, and there was no public transportation to get there. My uncle will be waiting there with a bullock cart pulled by two bullocks to take us home. We have to drive through a lake, which is usually dry. And if the lake has water, the trip is a little longer.
That's wonderful. And it sounds like the summers in the village was every boy's dream because you did what you wanted to do.
Right.
And and you had your friends from the city and your friends from the village there. So that was wonderful. Let me ask, thank you for sharing that with us. Do you, where you still have family in India?
Yes.
And are they in Tamil Nadu or in that area?
Yeah, they are in Tamil Nadu, and my I have I had three brothers and four sisters, and all my three brothers have passed away,
Oh,
and
really? Yeah.
and, and one of my oldest brother who came to United States stayed here for several years and then went back.
Way back.
Yeah.
I know that you talked about one of your older brothers teaching you more at home than you would have learned in school. So
That,
you had
that's what,
an experiment in homeschooling, didn't you, or tutoring? So can you, in the time we have left, can you tell us a little bit about the changes that you see in when you return to India, and contrast that with the period that you're writing about here?
uh, yeah, the uh, still pretty much, especially in the South, in South India, uh, the style of living, etc., is still the same. And uh, and again, Hinduism is very highly practiced, and my family grew up as a very conservative religious family,
Mm-hmm.
and um, and I still see all the activities going on that was there, even though in India the caste system is no longer legal, but it is still practiced at home and in every house.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
so, do you return to your birth, the village where you were born,
uh,
when you go visit?
actually, during the last visits or the visit before, actually, I drove past the house I was born in.
You were able to
And
go in a car instead of
yes,
a bullock cart.
no, we went in the car this time.
And I imagine you didn't. I imagine you were in first class on the train instead of in,
Uh, no,
or you
we
weren't on the train. You drove down. Is that right? Yeah.
this particular time actually we went by car, but most of the time we actually still, when we went to India with my family, we will take the train. Everybody loved the train, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we will take a second class train as opposed to a first class train. And
They
um,
still are they still selling coffee at? You hear
oh,
that? Are they still doing that shout?
yes, they do. They haven't changed.
That's great. Would you say that again for me? I love that.
Cafe, cafe, cafe.
Is it good coffee?
Yes. And the Madras coffee is very mixed with lots of milk and sugar.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
And still, most of the Indians here probably still drink the Madras coffee at home. I don't, but
So several times in your memoir, you say, well, but that's another story. You do that several times and leave us with a teaser about things to come. So can we expect another edition of your life story for the next edition of the Writer's Journal in the spring?
um, I will write something. And basically, I had thought about, uh, at least for my children's sake,
Yeah.
uh, I'll leave something in writing because many of the things uh, when my daughter and son read, oh, gee, we didn't know that you did this.
Yeah.
And like playing with snakes, etc.
Good. Well,
Uh,
think about us when you're when we send out the requests for writers manuscripts in next January or February, sometime like that.
sure, I'll be
I hope
glad to.
we'll be putting out another edition next spring. So, well, Manny, thank you very much for being here today. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for sharing with us. And now
Thank you.
to all of you Westminster residents watching out there, the Writers Journal Fall Edition will be here in a matter of weeks. We'll keep you advised. They're going to make wonderful gifts at Christmas time. So this is Boyd Taylor saying thanks again to you, Manny, And thanks to all of you Westminster residents for tuning in. We'll see you soon, and stay safe.